This portion of the news brought to you by McDonald's. McDonald's, I'm loving it.
Minister of Labor, the Honorable Shane Gibson, says he's summoned the General Manager of RIU to the Department of Labor.
This after some 30 workers were reportedly let go after a protest this week at the Paradise Island Resort.
It's a fortunate route that the employers chose to take at this particular time, simply because employees were just expressing their disapproval of what's going on. If you have employees working in conditions that are not healthy, that are not safe, employees working in hostile conditions, everybody have a right to freedom of expression. And it's really unfortunate that the employers will come in the Bahamas and attempt to take advantage of employees, terminate them, make them redundant, try to take away basic rights that they have as employees. And so I had asked them, you had two persons who had filed a dispute with the Department of Labor before yesterday, and a couple who had filed yesterday afternoon. And so I had asked all of them to go down to the department this morning to file a dispute, and asked that the General Manager be summoned to the Department of Labor.
Senators moved the second reading of a bill to make official the January 10th majority rule holiday. Carla Palmer reports on the contributions of senators.
At the outset, government leader in the Senate, the Honorable Alison Maynard Gibson, agrees that January 10th, now unofficially observed as Majority Rule Day, is the most important date in our country's history, next to August 1st, 1834, the abolition of slavery. She referenced the era in which our forefathers and mothers lived to bring about majority rule, which ushered an equality of people, regardless of race, creed, color, religion, or sex. That's more than enough reason to celebrate, she says, and in so doing, educate the wider community about the event and key players involved.
These stories, all of them, all of the stories, whether it is the story of Sir Stafford Sands, whom His Excellency has called a racist, or whether it is the story of Sir Lyndon Pinling, who we call the father of our nation, we must be able to tell them. These are the stories. These stories are the thread that holds together and that are woven into the pieces of the very rich tapestry that is the Bahamas. I would also like us to note, Mr. Vice President, that the Old Testament is filled with examples of God, our Creator, no less, telling His chosen people to repeat the stories. This is the essence of Passover.
Senator Keith Bell agrees and applauded all those people who defied the status quo at the time.
We must not forget the thousands of people who longed for freedom and worked to achieve it, many of whom never saw the promised land but believed that one day it would in fact come.
Senator Cheryl Buzard is also embracing the proposition of a majority rule holiday on January 10th each year.
Majority rule is often noted as a characteristic of and guarantees democracy as it continues to protect and preserve minority rights. How could there be opposition to such a passing of a bill? Not only is the economic argument secondary, but such festivities, such holidays, spur the economy in some instances.
Opposition Senator Kwesi Thompson cautioned the government when moving forward to making this day a holiday.
This day must be a day that speaks to unity and not to division. It is easy for us to fall into the trap to use majority rule as a means of dividing us along racial lines. But this day must be a day that speaks to the white Bahamian in the same way that it speaks to the black Bahamian. It must not create a dividing line between the white and the black, but it must unify all of us. Secondly, we must resist the temptation to use this as a political tool. This is not a PLP day, but it is a Bahamian day.
Debate in the Senate continues. I'm Carla Palmer for ZNS Network News.
Well, the wife of a man in his early 50s who has been missing for the past 7 months is once again making an appeal to the public to help her find him. Yvonne McKenzie says she was expecting her 52-year-old husband of 24 years, Philip McKenzie, to pick her up from the boat on Potters Key Dock, but says that never happened. Now, the wife says 15 minutes before the boat docked at Potters Key, she received a strange phone call from her husband to ask her if she had a spare key, as he believes someone may have taken his key, and that they were also not experiencing any marital issues. Now, during an interview with ZNS News Today, McKenzie told us what she thinks happened and how her family is coping with her husband's disappearance.
Potters Key Dock to pick me up. I was on my way from Eleuthera. When the boat landed, he was nowhere to be found. So I ended up staying like a couple minutes. I saw police cars going to the eastern side of the dock. So me and my sister, we walked down there. They said that a silver Honda car had gone overboard. But I said no. I said it's a silver Honda because my husband don't leave me on the dock. So we ended up staying like 2 hours. They pulled the car out of the water. Then I realized it was our car. The police came and they took statement. And they told me I got to go home. The next day I went out there. And there was the Fenn Force boats out, so they were searching for him. But that was the last time I heard from them. But I upset and just wondering what happened to him, because I know he's not the type of person to fuss with people and have enemies. And I just wanted to know what happened, at least know what happened to him. You know, the not knowing is what is killing me and his family. And none of us know.
All right, still to come, defend your spike. What is that all about? Find out in ZNS Total Sports.
And the beach volleyball national team in Parliament today. Find out why they were there. You're watching the Bahamas Tonight.
This portion of the news was brought to you by McDonald's. McDonald's, I'm loving it.
This is your Royal Fidelity Business News. I'm LaDawn Davis. The fourth meeting of the Bahamas Chamber of Commerce's Meet the Minister series will take place tomorrow at the British Colonial Hilton Hotel. Minister of Financial Services, the Honorable Ryan Pinder, is expected to address the government's initiatives in financial services, as well as arbitration and dispute resolution. Chamber officials expect the minister's presentation will be informative for the business community and provide insights as it relates to financial services. Her Excellency Lady Folks launched the latest ship to be added to the fleet of Campbell Shipping Company Limited and registered in the Bahamas in Japan this week. The CS Jaden is a 38,000 deadweight tons dry bulk carrier, which is constructed by Imabari Shipping at the shipyard in Japan. His Excellency Sir Arthur Folks accompanied Lady Folks for the launching. The Excellencies are the guests of Lowell Mortimer, the president of the Campbell Shipping Company Limited, which has offices at Campbell Maritime Center on West Bay Street. And in international business, the United Kingdom's Office for National Statistics reported Wednesday that the country's employment numbers rose to 2.52 million. The figure showed 15,000 more people were unemployed in the 3 months to the end of March, with the unemployment rate now at 7.8%. The total number of people in employment fell by 43,000 to 29.7 million, although the number of vacancies was at its highest level in 2008. And that's a look at your Royal Fidelity Business News. I'm LaDawn Davis.